Hi there. So, just a wee update on a prototype build for the project milestone one. Essentially, we went back to the drawing board a little bit. Kind of had a big clean out of our script. So at this stage, our game manager isn't really doing anything. It's kind of just there as a placeholder for the moment. It will do stuff later in the piece, so I'll keep it there. But essentially, we are kind of handling everything through these view controllers that we've got here. Uh, Basically, they will later in the piece, where these will kind of lose some of their functionality and just be reduced down to the view. We're going to do the MVVM architecture model by the end of the project. We should have it all set up. So these will eventually just become view. We'll have a view model behind there that will be basically handling a bunch of the logic that these are currently handling. And we'll have, of course, the model, the database at the back end, kind of, um, which will hold a few of our classes that will, well, the equivalent in, I assume, SQL database entities of some of our classes anyway. So yeah, basically, we'll just start it up. Nice. And show you what we can do. I've done a few little things, so just get rid of that, sorry. So as you can see, we're serving up all of this. There's a location description, and we'd have a little event description here, oh, there's something interesting, go search it or what have you. We're displaying our inventory. This is a list of items. We always start with a pocket knife and stuff is just a placeholder. This is the location name, which is actually the scene name as well. So we're pulling the scene name, we're using it as our location name. We're also using that to refer to as we jump around, navigating around the game. Health value is will be a player sort of variable. So idea will be when someone starts a new game, a new player class is instantiated with default values and health being one of them. Yeah, so at this point we can navigate into an inventory screen. Here's our inventory items. We can navigate back to our gameplay screen. We can navigate into our log, which is going to hold sort of events, locations we've visited, and things like that. We can return back to our game. You can see we've also got functionality here. We can now delete everything in our log. This is based on Todd's recommendation, just to have screens accepting input and output. I don't know, would you actually have this in the game at the end of the day? I'll show you that working in a moment. Yeah, so you can see all of that. Quit and map are just for show at the moment. So we've got a little test button here to jump to the next screen. In our finished prototype, this will be handled by the test command go east and go west to come back at the next screen. So anyway, next screen, and you can see we've carried all our variables through for our scene change. We've just changed the location name, which is the scene location name. And you can see our log has got a new entry to reflect the fact that we've just jumped onto another scene. Now what we can do is we can clear our event log, and we come back, jumping into our log. No, there's nothing there. So yeah, so we can delete all the entries in that event list. So we'll just jump out and have a wee look at our code. So yep, here we go. Okay, so as you can see, we're kind of handling a lot in these view controllers. So they are reasonably large files. There's a bit going on there. I've tried to put plenty of comments in there, just keep it all pretty straightforward here. And you'll see that beach view controller here and our mangroves view controller. Essentially, these are independent classes, but in the finished product, these would be inherited classes from a view or a view controller master class, because you can see they are literally just identical. Some slight differences at the moment, but in the finished product, all of the game screens are going to have one of these scripts, a view or a view controller, and they're all going to be identical. So we'll do inherited classes, so we don't have to always keep writing all these functions in and repeating our code. So anyway, everything's pretty commented. You can see here's player variables that we're kind of displaying: health, inventory, event log. These are actual UI elements in the game. So this is where we're displaying our variables. But yeah, everything's labeled up. On start, we're running a bunch of our functions here. So we've got things setting up player variables. Uh, yep, so setting up player variables. Now we're just setting them here in Beach View Controller, which is our first screen. Now, in the next sort of bit of development for the prototype, basically I will hopefully have a game start screen with a button you click start. When you click that, these variables are going to be passed on in a very similar fashion to how they'll be passed in by a new player class instantiation, passing in its variables. So, right, you can see here we actually just set these. We put some stuff in our lists. We assign some value to the integer, but here we do something different because we're basically I'm using player prefs a lot to pass things around. Now I don't know if that's best practice. I suspect that it isn't, but basically it's an interesting thing that you can pass things between scenes. You can pass your data through, but you can only player prefs only supports float, integer, and string. So anytime I'm passing lists through, I'm having to go through this sort of thing where I basically create variables, turn my lists into strings, pass the string through to the next scene, then convert that string back into a list if I need to do stuff with it or what have you. And you'll see, in fact, in event log, we've got more stuff going on because, of course, we pass through a string that we display in the event log that shows here's all our events, but it's just a string. It's not an actual list. I haven't didn't convert it back to a list. So basically, we just essentially when we want to get rid of it. So here we are here, clear event log. Yep, we basically clear the text, get rid of the text that's displayed on the screen, set a marker to true, and then we basically do a little dance here where if it equals true, i.e. you've cleared the events, the events should be deleted, then we set a variable, pass it through as our string, and then on the other side, the view can mangroves or the beach view, either overall, when you jump back through, you can see we have a function here where we just basically we listen for that variable coming in. If it's coming back in from the event log screen on any of our gameplay screens and we see, oh, it's true, then boom, we just delete everything in the actual event log list. So we actually clear the actual variable at that point. So yeah, so we've got lots of methods going on like that. Not actually really using these ones just yet, but they're kind of in there for future thing. But yeah, you'll see a lot of player prefs to string and get string and set string passing things through. Yeah, which just seems to be the easy way to kind of handle this at the moment. But yeah, it all seems to be working quite reliably. So yeah, the next step will basically be to uh, add a little bit more functionality to our inventory view. So where are we? To our inventory scene. Yeah, basically we need to have a way to essentially affect some change on here just to make this a functional screen for the marking criteria. So I'll probably have like a maybe an add item button or add and remove item or something like that, and we'll edit what's in the inventory, and then we'll of course have to sort of pass those changes back to any of the gameplay screens so that they'll, actually update their list and display the relevant sort of changed list of inventory items. Anyway, that should be fun. We'll do that. Oh, and we still need to get a bit of logic in behind here. Just at this stage, very basic. We're just literally going to listen for like go west and go east, just to allow the user to navigate between the two pages by text command. So yeah, that should be Pretty simple. We shouldn't have too many issues with that, hopefully. Cool, and we'll touch base again, hopefully doing the walk through the finished product very shortly.